In a quiet town where time seemed to move slower, two families lived side by side. Favor and Miracle were the daughters of James, a man known for his wisdom and fairness. Across the street lived John, a jovial man with two sons, Daniel and Isaac. From their earliest days, these children were inseparable, their laughter echoing through the streets as they played and learned together. It was a bond born of shared childhoods and woven through with love and trust. Among them, Favor and Isaac shared a unique connection. Born mere weeks apart, they were like two halves of a whole, inseparable in their daily lives and seemingly connected in thought and spirit. As children, Favor and Isaac were often mistaken for twins. Their bond was the kind of pure, unshakable connection that others envied. Whether they were climbing trees, exploring hidden corners of their town, or confiding their deepest fears and dreams, they were always side by side. It was as though they had an unspoken promise to be there for one another through everything life could throw at them. This closeness became the foundation of their relationship, one that neither of them ever thought could change. But time, as it always does, began to alter the dynamics of their world. The carefree innocence of childhood gave way to the complexities of adolescence. Favor grew into a confident, graceful young woman, her laughter drawing admiration from those around her. Isaac, too, began to change. His voice deepened, his frame broadened, and he carried himself with a newfound maturity. Despite these physical and emotional transformations, their bond seemed unshaken, at least on the surface. They still spent their days laughing, sharing secrets, and supporting one another, convinced that nothing could ever come between them. One quiet evening, as the moon cast its silver glow across their small town, Favor lay in bed, unable to sleep. From her parents' room came the sound of muffled laughter, followed by strange noises she didn't recognize. Curiosity stirred within her. Tiptoeing down the hallway, she stopped outside their door and pushed it open ever so slightly. What she saw froze her in place. Her parents were engaged in an act she couldn't understand, their movements unfamiliar and their sounds confusing. A rush of emotions flooded her, embarrassment, curiosity, and an overwhelming sense of confusion. She quietly retreated to her room, her mind racing with questions she couldn't yet articulate. The next day, the weight of what she had seen lingered heavily on Favor's mind. She needed answers but didn't know where to turn. Finally, she confided in Isaac, the one person she trusted implicitly. Sitting under their favorite tree, she hesitated before whispering, "Last night, I saw something strange. My parents were doing something. I don't know what it was." Isaac's eyebrows shot up in surprise. "What do you mean, strange?" he asked, his tone cautious. Favor struggled to find the words to explain. "They were making noises and moving in a way I've never seen before. I don't know what it was, but it felt weird." Isaac's expression shifted, a mix of understanding and hesitation crossing his face. He chuckled nervously. "Oh, that's just adult stuff," he said dismissively. Favor's eyes widened. "You know about this?" she asked, her curiosity growing. Isaac hesitated before nodding. "Yeah. I've seen my parents do it too, and other things on the internet." Favor's curiosity deepened. "What kind of things?" she pressed. Isaac shifted uncomfortably. "It's not something you're supposed to watch," he said firmly, trying to end the conversation. But Favor wasn't satisfied. "If you've seen it, why can't I?" she argued, her curiosity outweighing her hesitation. She pestered and pleaded until, reluctantly, Isaac gave in. One afternoon, when the adults were out and the house was quiet, he opened his phone and showed her one of the videos. The screen glowed brightly in the dimly lit room, casting shadows on their faces as they watched. What unfolded before their eyes was unlike anything they had ever seen. The actions, the sounds, everything about it was strange, foreign, and unsettling. Yet, they couldn't look away. Their innocence, once a shield against the complexities of the adult world, began to crack under the weight of what they had seen. Something unspoken shifted between them that day, a subtle yet undeniable change in the way they viewed each other and themselves. As the days turned into weeks, Favor found herself unable to shake the curiosity that had taken root in her mind. She approached Isaac with a bold idea. "No one's home," she said one afternoon, her voice steady and determined. "We should try what we've been watching." Isaac froze, his heart pounding. "Are you serious?" he asked, his voice filled with disbelief. "What if someone finds out?" "No one will find out," Favor insisted, her confidence unwavering. "It will just be between us." Despite his reservations, Isaac found himself unable to resist her persistence. But just as they were about to act on their curiosity, Daniel burst into the room, his cheerful voice breaking the tension. "Isaac, come play ball with me," he called, oblivious to the moment he had interrupted. Relieved by the distraction, Isaac quickly agreed, leaving Favor frustrated but undeterred. Over the following weeks, she continued to pressure him, her determination growing stronger with each passing day. Isaac, however, began to feel the weight of guilt pressing down on him. "This isn't right, Favor," he said one day, his voice heavy with emotion. "We shouldn't do this." But Favor was relentless. Her curiosity had grown into an obsession, one that she couldn't ignore. Finally, she convinced Isaac to meet her in a secluded spot near their school. The air was thick with tension as they ventured into the quiet bush, their hearts pounding in unison. In that hidden place, far from the prying eyes of the world, they crossed a line they could never uncross. The innocence that had once defined their bond was gone, replaced by a mix of guilt, confusion, and an unspoken understanding of what they had done. For Isaac, the aftermath was unbearable. The guilt he felt weighed heavily on his shoulders, consuming his thoughts and filling him with regret. "I can't do this anymore," he told Favor family one day, his voice resolute. "We have to stop." Favor, however, wasn't ready to let go. "Why?" "No one knows," she argued. "It's just between us." But Isaac shook his head. "It's not right, Favor. We can't keep doing this." His words carried a finality that even Favor couldn't ignore. 2 weeks later, everything changed. Favor fell ill, her vibrant energy replaced by constant nausea and fatigue. Concerned, her mother, Mrs. Patience, took her to the hospital. The doctor's words were like a thunderclap, shattering the fragile peace of their lives. "Your daughter is 3 weeks pregnant," he said calmly, his tone matter-of-fact. Mrs. Patience's face turned pale. "That's impossible," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with disbelief. The doctor remained calm. "It's not impossible," he said gently. "Take care of her and the baby." On the drive home, Favor sat in silence, her mind racing with fear and shame. Tears streamed down her face as she thought about the weight of the truth she carried. One question consumed her: how would she tell her mother that Isaac, her cousin, was the father? The days that followed were filled with tension and unspoken fears. Favor avoided Isaac, unable to face him after what had happened. Isaac, too, wrestled with his guilt, his once carefree demeanor replaced by a somberness that didn't go unnoticed. The bond that had once been their greatest strength now felt like a heavy burden, one that threatened to tear their families apart. The truth, however, had a way of revealing itself. One evening, as the families gathered for dinner, Mrs. Patience's frustration boiled over. "Favor," she said sharply, her voice filled with suspicion. "There's something you're not telling me. Who is the father of this child?" Favor's heart raced as she looked around the room. All eyes were on her, their gazes filled with curiosity and concern. Finally, she took a deep breath and whispered the words that would change everything. "It's Isaac." The room fell silent. The weight of her confession hung heavy in the air, its impact reverberating through the hearts of everyone present. The bond between the two families, once unbreakable, now seemed fragile and uncertain. What would come next? How would they navigate the aftermath of this revelation? Could the love and trust they had once shared be rebuilt, or was it lost forever? Stay tuned for part 2, where the journey continues, and the consequences of their actions unfold in ways no one could have anticipated.